In this presentation put together by Alicia, Dillon, and Ilana, we will be discussing the research, pedagogical practices, and strategies to alleviate the struggles of Alex, a Year 11 Earth and Environmental Studies student, from the perspective of the year advisor. Alex's parents have reached out with concern about his academic performance in earth and environmental science and disengagement from school. Through an investigation, we have discovered that this subject is a passion of Alex's, which he used to excel in and has future career aspirations in. Alex is lacking self-efficacy and has become subject to bullying as a result of puberty and his passion for environmental issues. We believe that Alex could excel at this subject again if these issues are addressed and appropriate strategies are put into place.
All right, so we're taking the place of Alex's year advisor. And like Alana said, we have done an investigation. And essentially, we found three key issues when we did our investigation. And the first of these is pedagogical practice. Alex was able to identify that he was not he was not gelling well with his teacher's teaching style. So it was identified that his Earth and Environmental Studies teacher uses a lot of explicit teaching. And while this was effective for Alex initially, it has become an issue as the subject has gone on. The second issue that was identified is Alex's self-efficacy. And self-efficacy is something which the research explains is very important to a student's ability both to learn and to perform. And so Alex has seen a decline in his self-efficacy, even though he initially had very good results. We found that both his results are dropping, and also his belief in himself to perform well in the subject. We also identified that there is a bullying issue for Alex. It's not quite clear whether that's within or without of the classroom, but it's likely that it's both. Well, there isn't a huge amount that the teacher or we as the year advisor can do to tackle bullying. It's a very complex issue, but we have put together a plan that us and other members of the school community can start putting into place to hopefully effectively tackle Alex's issues. So, moving on to some research and analysis, we can see that there is lots of research has gone into the classroom and the correct way to teach. And like I said earlier, um, the explicit instruction which Alex's teacher has been giving him is considered very effective initially, but not effective in a continued classroom environment, which is what we're seeing here. And just like the research suggests, Alex is having struggle with learning from that further on. So, like I said, the first thing I want to talk about is pedagogy. And as we know, Alex's teacher has been using explicit instruction, and this has become less effective. And we believe that this is a major factor leading to Alex's academic decline. So, the academic decline with this is consistent with John Sweller's cognitive load theory. So, CLT suggests that when a learner is new to a subject, explicit instruction is really effective way to teach them. It helps them build up schemas in their brain and helps them process this new information. But after they have developed these schemas, what they need is more hands-off teaching, more inquiry-led teaching, more project-based learning, and particularly the opportunity for them to have mastery experiences. And so, as we understand, Alex is beyond being a novel learner in the subject, and he's performing very well initially. And so now he's moved past that. He's maybe moving towards expert, towards mastery. And so he needs to be having those mastery experiences. He needs to be able to go out and learn on his own and adapt his schemas, which the explicit instruction of the teaching isn't allowing him to do. And the next part is self-efficacy. And self-efficacy is something that there's been a lot of research into. And pretty much everything points to it being super important, both to how a student feels and to how well they perform, both in learning and in performance, academic performance. So self-efficacy is tantamount, it's kind of motivation and it's kind of self-belief. It's a bit of both, but really what it is a person's own perception of their ability. And so Alex had strong self-efficacy initially in the subject and was performing very well as a result. But because of his teacher's pedagogy, he feels like he's being babied a bit, like he's not being trusted to go and prove himself. And so what we're getting is that Alex is having diminished self-efficacy as a result of his teacher's pedagogical practice. And so it's really clear, according to the research, that we can tackle both of these issues with a change to Alex teacher's pedagogy. And so the best thing that we can do to help Alex in this subject is to move away from that explicit teaching. We will be advising that his teacher move more towards inquiry based learning, towards project based learning, and to group based learning. And these are things which will allow Alex to adapt and query his schemas rather than trying to build new ones because he already has them. And in particular, we think that group based learning could be really important, something where Alex is around his peers, which will allow him to maybe see that he's actually really good in the subject compared to others, and he'll be able to maybe take control of a group subject and therefore find himself uh, performing really well. And that will act as a good way to really rise his self efficacy and his own belief in his ability in the subject. So, a really big thing is a change to the pedagogy and the teaching practices that are being used. And we want to move towards those mastery experiences. So for that, we're thinking project-based learning and some opportunities to conduct their own research since this is a scientific subject.
Based off that research, we're now going to go into the strategies that we propose will improve Alex's performance and address his struggles. Okay, so first off, we've got do nows. So do nows are a short, independent, or collaborative warm-up exercise which students complete at the beginning of a lesson when entering the classroom. By implementing a do now in the lesson plan for Earth and Environmental Science, the students are going to feel an increase of self-efficacy through self-led learning with minimal guidance from the teacher. This pedagogical practice will also prompt them to remember their prior knowledge. It also familiarizes vocabulary and sets the tone for the rest of the lesson. And this will take approximately 10 minutes at the start of the lesson, and they change between each lesson. Next up, we have inquiry-based learning. So inquiry-based learning is a pedagogical strategy which focuses on investigation and problem solving. Rather than presenting the answer or spoon-feeding information like we know Alex has been receiving, students are given a range of scenarios, questions, and problems to investigate and discover themselves. Within Earth and Environmental Science, there is a lot of opportunity for this practice as students can conduct experiments themselves to discover truths. The practicality of this approach and the self-led discovery will increase Alex's self-efficacy and lead him to success. This strategy will foster a positive outlook to failure, which is also really important in the problem-solving process, and will encourage social interactions. Next up, we have group project work. The educator will change up the environment for learning by implementing practical group projects, which require the students to work outside of the classroom and problem solve, making clear to them that the task that they're doing reflects a career in this field. This will encourage the students to socialize, developing their communication skills, but it also fosters engagement and allows them to see the utility value of the subject. The teacher will give a short demonstration before allowing the students to go and exhibit the skills themselves. And then following this, the students should all provide individual reports to ensure an even workload. This group project will address the lack of utility value for Alex, as well as increase the self-efficacy as students are encouraged to do their own investigation. We also have project-based learning. This pedagogical approach will involve students working on a project for an extended period of time, for example, 3 weeks, or even longer or shorter. It could be quite broad, encouraging the students to research into some of their interests. One form of this implemented in Alex's class would be the teacher giving them a question. For example, how can you make a difference to protect our environment? This engages students and allows them to use their problem-solving skills and improve self-efficacy. It should also be emphasized what kinds of questions an earth and environmental scientist would face in the field, further increasing the utility value of the class. So now we've got some innovative ideas, which we think could also make a big difference for Alex. So the first one is an anonymous online bullying report system. So this will be addressing Alex's struggles with bullying from his peers. And the school will be pushed to introduce an anonymous online harassment reporting system. This basically involves a link of the school website or a student portal system where the students will provide details on a situation of bullying that they have been involved in or witnessed. This will then be handled by the alleged harasser will be investigated depending on the severity of the situation, leaving the reporting student anonymous. This system encourages students to speak up in a safe manner, allowing more issues of bullying to be brought to the attention of adults. This will also encourage Alex and other students to feel safe in their school environment, empowered and heard. And then the last one that we have is an extracurricular earth and environmental science class. So basically, we want to create an extracurricular class for students who have a passion for earth and environmental science. And this is a place where they can grow their skills and work on specific specialized projects of interest. This will also encourage new relations for Alex with like-minded students who share similar passions. As our investigation revealed, Alex particularly gets bullied for his passion to the subject. This class should increase his confidence and self-efficacy, encouraging him to build stronger social connections.
When dealing with the situation regarding Alex, it is important that it is not just one person who's dealing with this, but it is a shared effort between multiple different staff at the school. So first off, the classroom teacher's plan would be to introduce the new pedagogical strategies, which have already been referenced in this slideshow. Secondly, would be to call out any bullying that they happen to see in the classroom and making sure that it is shown that it is not appropriate in this classroom setting. And thirdly, would be to talk with Alex one-on-one about how he wants things to be dealt with and just making sure to communicate with the student so that it is not just being taken away from the students. Secondly, we would recommend Alex going and talking to a counsellor. So the counsellor would be able to work with Alex about his bullying and see how he's feeling through all of this. He'll be able to help put in study strategies to feel less overwhelmed. He can take into consideration how Alex wants to deal with it, making sure to work with the student, not just telling the student what to do, discussing, letting Alex have some control over what is happening in his life, and then making sure to talk with Alex about whether he wants his parents involved in discussions about the bullying, as some students don't wish to have that brought home. So making sure that Alex is completely in control of what's going on so that he doesn't feel that he has to lock himself away and he can trust the counsellors and teachers at this school. Thirdly, the year advisors plan, which is the part that we're playing in this, is make sure to put in easy ways for students to report bullying and make sure to take every report of bullying seriously using an online reporting system such as Stymie, which is where students are able to go through their phones and report bullying to the school so that they don't have to go find a teacher and talk to someone about it, because it's a lot harder for students to be brave enough to go and talk to someone in person, whereas if they can just do it on their phone, send something in, then it feels like less of a step for them to have to take. And then making sure to take a closer interest in Alex's results. Now that it's been pointed out to him that there's an issue with Alex, making sure to keep an eye on it and see that all of the changes that the year advisor has been proposing before in this slideshow are being implemented properly and that they're having a proper impact. And then lastly, making sure to talk back to the parents, making sure to loop them in on what the plan has been, like the change in the pedagogical strategies, working on improving self-efficacy, stuff like that. Inform them of Alex's self-efficacy issues and let them know that they should work with him and encourage him with his study. And let them know that this is always a two-way lane of communication. So if they need to reach out again, they don't see an improvement or they see new issues arise, that this is always an open conversation for them. And then making sure that if Alex has discussed and said that he is okay for them to be let know about the bullying, let them know that that has been an issue and see if they can find any extracurricular activities or friend groups or anything like that that he can join outside of school and away from his bullies. And then, the implementation and conclusion, we'll see here that with this intensive focus on changing the pedagogical strategies of the teacher, making sure that it's more inquiry-based learning rather than just explicit learning, improving Alex's self-efficacy by letting him take on more, like he takes more control in his learning, letting him do group-based projects and having him have control over what he's learning, and then talking with counselors about his bullying situation and removing him from the negative environments around his bullying. There should be a major improvement for Alex in his experience at school. And by collaborating between the teacher, year advisor, counselor, parents, and Alex himself, the problem should be resolved quickly. And if not, the problem won't be allowed to fall to the side again, as it has been brought to the attention of multiple people. So multiple people will be keeping tabs and making sure that this is all being resolved. And we have here some of our references. Thank you.